So, today we're diving into a story that's not about a conquest of land, but a conquest of hearts. It's the incredible story of how some of the most brilliant military and political minds of the time, who were sworn enemies of a new faith, were completely won over, not by force, but by an idea.
And that really brings us to the central question we're going to tackle. How on earth did Islam's fiercest, most dedicated enemies become its greatest champions? I mean, this isn't just a history lesson. It's a really profound look at truth, at leadership, and at what truly changes a person's heart. All right, let's get into it. Our story kicks off not on a battlefield, but right in the heart of Makkah. I want you to picture this. Thousands of Muslims who were once exiled are now returning for a pilgrimage, the Compensatory Umrah. They're just flowing into the city, not as warriors, but as this silent, unified river of pilgrims. Their discipline, their peaceful presence, it was an absolute spectacle. Now just try to imagine you're one of the leaders of the Quraish, the ruling tribe of Makkah. For years, you've been plotting against the Prophet Muhammad and his followers. And now you're just standing there on the sidelines, watching them enter your city, not with swords and anger, but with a kind of dignity and quiet strength you've literally never seen before. This was a psychological masterstroke. It was a demonstration of power, but through peace. And you could just feel the impact in this quote. The source material tells us it was a moment of introspection. Think about that. This wasn't a military loss for the Quraysh. It was something deeper, a moral and spiritual defeat. Seeing that incredible unity just forced them to question everything they thought they knew. And you know who was watching all of this unfold? One of the sharpest military minds of the entire era, Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed. This is the guy who had engineered Muslim defeats in the past, a true tactical genius for the Quraysh. But seeing this peaceful display, well, it left him at a serious crossroads. See, Khalid was a smart guy. He was looking at this and thinking, this isn't magic and it's not just good poetry. It was crystal clear to him that Prophet Muhammad was being helped by a higher power, and that realization sparked a deep personal crisis for him. He felt totally cornered, asking himself, what is left for me? Where can I possibly go from here? He knew in that moment he was on the wrong side of history. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Look at how the Prophet reached out to him. He didn't send a threat, he didn't condemn him. Instead, he sent a message through Khalid's own brother that basically acknowledged his brilliance. The message was, in essence, a man of your talent shouldn't be ignorant of this truth. Your skills, your energy, they would be valued here, with us. It was a powerful invitation, not a demand.
That invitation planted a seed, and then a powerful dream came and confirmed everything. Khalid dreamt that he was leaving a barren, cramped, drought-stricken land, which, represented his old life, and he was entering this vast, green, fertile landscape. The symbolism was just undeniable. His heart had already made the journey.
Okay, so let's shift gears for a second to another major player. While Khalid is having this crisis of conscience in Makkah, another incredibly influential leader, the sharp diplomat Amr ibn Al Aas, is on a completely different mission, way over in Abyssinia. Amr was a political operator through and through. He could see the tide was turning back in Arabia, so he travels to the court of the Christian King of Abyssinia. And his plan? To use his diplomatic charm and a whole bunch of expensive gifts to convince the king to hand over the Muslim refugees who'd been given asylum there. He was still very much working against Islam. But his plan just backfired spectacularly. The king, who was a man of deep faith, wasn't just unconvinced, he was actually angry. He saw the connection, comparing the prophet's message to the revelations of Moses. The king didn't just say no, he gave Amr this powerful rebuke, telling him to follow the very man he was trying to undermine, declaring, "For indeed, he is upon the truth."
Wow. For a man like Amr, a master of politics and persuasion, to be so completely turned around by someone else's words, that just tells you how powerful they were. The source says a sudden change came over him. Right then and there, the diplomat's mission was over and a believer was born. He secretly pledged his allegiance to Islam on the spot.
So just think about this. We now have two of Islam's most formidable opponents, a brilliant general and a shrewd diplomat in totally different parts of the world, both having this profound change of heart. Their paths, once dedicated to fighting Islam, were now, unbelievably, converging on a single destination, Medina. And this is where the story gets really cinematic. Khalid sets out from Mecca with a friend. Amr is making his way back from Abyssinia. And then, by some twist of fate, these three men, who were former allies against Islam, run into each other in the middle of the desert. Can you even imagine that moment of shock and then recognition? When they were asked where they were going, there was no hesitation. They declared their shared purpose right then and there. And Amr replied that he was there for the exact same reason. In that one incredible moment, former adversaries were now standing together, brothers on a brand new path.
So, their journey finally ends when they arrive in Medina, and this is it, the climax. They come face to face with the man they had spent years fighting against, the Prophet Muhammad himself.
Khaalid, this great, undefeated general, steps forward. But he doesn't talk about his status or his past victories. He speaks with total humility. He asks the Prophet to pray for his forgiveness, for all the harm he caused, for all the battles he fought against the Muslims. It's just this powerful admission of his past, and a real plea for a fresh start.
And the Prophet's response? Well, this is the heart of the entire story. There's no anger, no payback, no "I told you so," just complete, total mercy, all captured in one profound sentence. Islam erases what comes before it. It was a completely fresh start, no questions asked.
So let's just break down the leadership genius we're seeing here. First, victory isn't always won on the battlefield. True influence is won in the heart. Second, the Prophet didn't just defeat his enemies. He saw their talent and invited them to use it for something greater. Third, he chose mercy over revenge because he understood that forgiveness is what really builds loyalty. And finally, this whole story just proves that a sincere invitation to truth is way more powerful than any demand for submission.
And the result of this amazing conquest of hearts? Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed became known as the Sword of Allah, one of the greatest military commanders in history. Amr ibn Al Aas became a renowned governor and leader. Their incredible talents weren't just neutralized, they were embraced and redirected for the very cause they once tried so hard to destroy.
And that really brings us to our final thought for today. This entire story is just a powerful example of a different kind of strength, one that's based on truth, on dignity, and on mercy. It leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. When a victory is won not by the sword, but by the heart, what does that really teach us about the nature of true strength and influence?